All right. The article name is Reward Increased to 25,000 for Information in Fatal Highway Shooting of High School Hockey Player. Police said they believe the gunfire came from the opposite direction of traffic. No arrests have been made as of Monday afternoon. Crime Stoppers is now offering a reward of up to $25,000 for any information that leads to an arrest in the highway shooting that killed high school hockey player Colin Brown. In a press release, Crime Stoppers said family, friends, and anonymous donors helped increase the reward. Tips must be called or submitted directly to the Crime Stoppers tip hotline or sent through the free P3 app to be eligible for the reward. Colin Brown, 16, was struck by stray gunfire on the night of November 23rd while riding home from a hockey game on northbound Interstate 55 near Loughborough. He died Wednesday afternoon. Police Department spokesman Mitch McCoy said in the press conference last week. Police said they believe the gunfire came from the opposite direction of traffic. No arrests have been made as of Monday afternoon. There are multiple agencies involved in the investigation, McCoy said in the press conference last week. When something like this happens, everybody will come together to assist and help and make sure that, as a law enforcement community, we send a very strong message to whoever did this that this type of disregard for human life will not be tolerated in this city or this region. Tips can be reported to Crime Stoppers anonymously by calling 866-371-8477 or by submitting information online here. In the days since the shooting, the St. Louis hockey community has rallied around Brown and his family. More than 100 people showed up for Colin and his family at the McKendree Recplex for a prayer vigil Tuesday night. Colin played for O'Fallon, Illinois for several years, but currently plays for the African Americans in CBC. The Dog Nation Hockey Foundation, a nonprofit that supports amateur ice hockey players and families in times of crisis, started raising money for the family right after they heard the news. The fundraiser is ongoing. As of Wednesday afternoon, it raised $72,000 for the family. And that is the end of the article.
All right, thank you for that. In the shared documents, um, I have a few prompts for you. So you have read a local newspaper article. Um, can you tell me either a story about something that's happened recently in your life, or something from your childhood, or just your plans for the holidays? So,
Sure. We'll go plans for the holidays because that's easy. We will be spending Christmas with my wife's family. Her extended family is down in Georgia, and we will be traveling down there. It's about an 8-hour drive. We'll be spending time with her aunt and her uncle, and then her cousins. We'll be staying with her cousins that have little kids, and so our little kids will have fun with their little kids and it'll be a great time. We'll be down there for a few days.
all right. I think, can you say the two things I have written in the document and then tell me another story?
Yep, sure. The things underneath say,
Mhm.
some people say I talk funny. I caught so many fish at camp, I even slept in a cot at night. And another story, you put me on the spot here. Um, let's see. So, story. Um, the time that I tried to rip my knee off. So I had um, I was 16 years old, loved riding my bike, and we lived down a gravel road with some hills. And I had convinced my mother to let me go riding my bike that afternoon. And you would not normally think a 16-year-old should have to ask his mother for permission to ride his bike, but in my case, she was very wise and to be hesitant because she knew what would happen as soon as I got on my mountain bike. Well, anyway, so I got out there needless to say, I just got a new speedometer for my bike. So now I could actually see how fast I was going. So I took it up the hill and up the first hill, and I wasn't really ever supposed to go past the first hill, but I was like, I'm gonna go past the first hill. So I went to the second hill, and I knew I could get some good speed. So I came roaring down the second hill. I came around the curve to come down the first hill, and I hit a rock with a tire. My bike went out from underneath me, and I went spilling down on the ground, all tangled up in the bike. And thought I was good. I stood up, and then immediately fell back down, and noticed my knee. I could see my bone, and realized that's not normal. And thankfully, my dad saw it from down below and came up and actually carried me back to the house and threw me in the truck. And we went to the hospital to go get, I forget, 20 stitches and 40 shots in it to get it back to, let's say, as normal as it can be after an incident like that. Anything else you'd like me to say?
That was a very interesting story. Do you know how much time we have on the recording at this point?
At this time, it does not tell me.
That's helpful. Um,
I think about 12 minutes.
okay. We need probably closer to 20.
Okay.
So we could
You
figure
want
out,
to read another news article to you?
sure.
Let's do it. We're going really dark today. Um, all right, let's get this one pulled up. I'm sorry, my phone is being weird. All right, we're gonna look at Channel 4 news of today. All right, so multi-million dollar mansion destroyed by a Thanksgiving turkey frying mishap. So, a multi-million dollar mansion was destroyed by a fire after a Thanksgiving turkey frying mishap. The Weston Fire Department responded to the fire on Thanksgiving around 3:40 p.m. They said the callers initially described the incident as a garage fire. By the time firefighters arrived, they said that the fire had rapidly extended to the home. They tried an aggressive fire attack. However, their efforts were thwarted by dangerous fire conditions and structural collapse. In addition, a vehicle drove over the water supply hose on the road. Fire officials said that that damaged the line had completely stopped the flow of water for several minutes. Firefighters said that at that point, defensive operations were initiated and personnel remained on scene for more than 16 hours. The cause of the fire remains under investigation by the Weston Fire Marshal. However, based on the preliminary investigation, it appears the fire began in the garage and was the result of frying a turkey, the Weston Department reported. There were no injuries, and the house was deemed uninhabitable. The home was valued at $3.8 million, according to Realtor.com. Bad day for millionaire. Do we need another story?
Sure.
All right, let's do. We'll try to do something a little less sad. All right, this is in St. Louis. Before Elliot Davis retired from Fox 2 as an investigative reporter and anchor, he spent 45 years of his career transforming the lives of St. Louisans in need. Still, his mission has continued into retirement. On Saturday, David volunteered with a homeless outreach program, New Life Evangelistic Center, and came across a woman, Alicia Hall, and her two children sleeping in a tent in North St. Louis. David said it struck him to see her 5-year-old and 3-year-old surviving on the streets as St. Louis received over 3 inches of snow and the temperature dropped into the 20s that day. In response, David went to his 173,000 followers on Facebook to raise awareness and support for Hall and her children. After going live on Facebook to share Hall's situation, over 1,000 of his followers extended support for the family. It takes a village, Davis said. This was one of those situations where a lot of people came together to make this happen. With Davis and his followers' support, Hall was taken to a shelter where she could stay free for 30 days. Hall remained in the shelter until an unidentified group in the community took her out of the shelter and put her in a hotel where she could only stay for a couple days. With such a short time period before she would be forced to leave, Davis again brought Hall additional support by providing enough money for her to stay in the hotel an additional 5 days. Not only did Hall receive support from Davis's followers, but also State Representative Kimberly Collins, an elected officer at the NAACP, or National Association of Advancement for Colored People. Hall shared her story on Davis's Facebook page about how she ended up on the streets after she was evicted from her previous home and left without a vehicle to sleep in. After Hall and her children were brought to the hotel, Davis said her children were in great spirits. Since Saturday, Hall has received additional support that will bring her back into shelter and eventually into permanent housing. God puts us on earth for a mission, Davis said. That's why, even though I'm retired, that God-given passion has not ended. It's a good story. There is some good news out there.
Yes.
I think we're about probably 17 minutes right now. Do you want to do one more, or are we good there?
Yes. Do you have any other like interesting stories
Interesting
from
story.
your life? Like
Ah,
any happened
I have
recently that
I have
you
an interesting story.
talk
So
about?
all right. So I'm a realtor by trade. So I sell people's houses, but moreover, I deal with crazy people. Um, So I I sold a house last Monday and we closed the house, but the seller, who was my client, was supposed to have an extra I think it was 6, 7 days of possession of the house, so to have time through Thanksgiving to enjoy Thanksgiving and to get moved out by Saturday. And he was supposed to be out by noon on Saturday for the new buyers to take possession of the house. Well, on Friday evening, I checked in with him to make sure he was aware that he was supposed to be out by noon, to make sure his plans were moving along well. Come to find out, somewhere there must have been a breakdown in communication, as he thought he had all day Saturday to get moved out and did not know he was supposed to be out by noon. So it came to my realization that I may have dropped the ball and did not tell him recently about the noon deadline, even though I knew I had told him when we accepted the contract. But I decided it was on me to try to give him some help, and the buyers were not having it, that he was not going to be out by noon. So on Friday evening, at 7 o'clock, started hunting down some movers to hire to go send over there to help him. And since I felt like it was my mistake, so thankfully I was able to find a couple guys that were able to go help him move. And let's see, sent him over Saturday morning. They helped him get out. They were done by about 3 o'clock, which was okay. But by the time I got there at 3 o'clock to take the keys and to hand them over to the buyer, I found out that he had just decided to leave a trampoline in the backyard, a 1,000 pound granite tabletop in his garage, as well as numerous other items. So then I frantically, before the buyers got there, had to call a bunch of people to figure out how we could get all this stuff scrapped out of the house before they showed up. So we got a junker over there to get the trampoline gone, and I had a past client that wanted to come pick up the granite table, and thankfully, in a reasonable amount of time, we were able to give possession to the house to the buyers. And that's my story of a crazy client who thought he could just leave anything behind at the house he wanted to.
All right, perfect. I have one more thing that it'd be great if you could say, and then I think we'll be good.
Okay. It says, can you pass a bottle of water?
Okay. Um, think that's all. Do you know if you can do transcripts on these video on your recording or no?
I can probably just run it through AI and have it do that for me.
Okay, if you could and like send me the transcript, that'd be great.
I can try.
Otherwise, I have
No,
to figure out how to do it,
no
which
guarantees,
is
but
fine.
I will try.
I'm gonna have to figure it out anyways. But
I'll give it a shot.
okay, thank you. But yeah, I think we're good at least for the recording.
All right, I'm gonna stop it.